Hey everyone, welcome back to AWM Insights. It's your Power 3, 2 CPWAs and a CFA. We are Erik, Brandon, and Justin. And we may have the biggest news of 2020. On Friday, President Trump and the First Lady test positive for COVID. Right after we have this crazy debate.
Erik, wait a minute. Hold your horses. We got other news that's going on in the world. We can't just put all of our attention on Trump, right? Let's talk about what's going on in the investment world. We actually had Palantir and Asana go public, very much anticipated and dominating the headlines. We got SPACs, we've got, direct listings, all this stuff going on. And then some news hit the news wire here just within the last 24 hours that HIMS is actually doing a reverse merger into a SPAC that's being backed by Oaktree. That's big news around here in AWM parts because we did have the opportunity to get into that HIMS deal while they were private about a year ago. So we're definitely celebrating a little bit over here, and we were excited to be participants in that. And I know that's not all the news that's certainly going on. I mean, Justin, you can dig into some of the data here, but we definitely had some numbers get released, adding to the uncertainty. So what's going on in the financial markets and the economy right now?
With this news that Trump and the First Lady have COVID, markets are a little shaky on Friday. In addition to that, it's the end of the quarter and the end of the month, and that always brings out a ton of data releases. One of the more important ones being right now the unemployment situation. So the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics released on Friday that the U.S. economy added 661,000 jobs last month, which is a great number on its own. It's slowed relative to past months, but the recovery is still taking hold. It was pretty broad based across different sectors: hospitality, leisure, retail, all adding pretty strong amounts. In addition, one of the more important data points is on manufacturing. That is still gaining steam. It's losing some momentum, if you will, but certainly in recovery mode strongly as well. And then turning forward, we're going to see a ton of earnings come on the calendar over the next couple of weeks, and it will be really interesting to see what we see, what the data brings to the market there.
As the average Joe that I am, while I'm not as naive of just a Robinhood trader thinking that I can trade this market up and down, so I'm definitely not going to go to cash. But, I live in California. I don't really want to take any risk. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and buy some muni bonds. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, from a pro mindset, you're thinking in the right direction, but what we do is take that a step further. You want to really think about tax efficiency and tax equivalency, really kind of to your point. While muni bonds are great and tax efficient vehicles, they're not all created equal. Even within California, you need to be a little bit cautious, or within New York or any other state, right? There are general obligation municipal bonds, there are revenue driven bonds, and those within the actual state can be different and have different components that you need to be aware of and different risks. But then even across state lines, it may make sense for a California-based investor, to your point, to invest in a bond from Florida. I'm not necessarily saying that's true. Everything is unique to each individual investor, and we customize portfolios according to that fact. But you really need to be aware of an individual's tax situation, the bond that you're looking at specifically, and what that is yielding after tax for that specific investor. You can't just blindly go in there and say, hey, I live in California, I pay California taxes, and I'm going to go buy California municipal bonds. It's on the right path, but you need to understand that the pros think about it in a little bit more detail and depth.
Here's the key takeaways. Number one, capturing high expected returns. It gets exciting when you hear about a story like HIMS, but ultimately it's also about your after-tax returns in the public markets. And so make sure that you have a tax efficient strategy, that you're working with your certified private wealth advisor in the CFA to make sure that you're capturing the returns that you deserve. If you like what we're doing, go ahead and head over to AWM Insights on Apple Podcasts. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a rating. And until next time, stay humble, stay hungry, and always be a pro. The information in this podcast is educational and general in nature and does not take into consideration the listener's personal circumstances. Therefore, it is not intended to be a substitute for specific, individualized financial, legal, or tax advice. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, Consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a final decision.